Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So shout out to everybody who is in the building early. It's good to see each and every one of you. If you guys can hear me okay and everything is looking good on the screen, please give me a thumbs up or a radiation emoji in the chat. If you guys cannot hear me or things are looking and sounding kind of bad, please give me a thumbs down or an angry face. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to shout out everybody who was in the building early, all right? Shout out to my man Carlton Way. Shout out to Vovo. Shout out to Tedra. Shout out to my man AB Promotions. And shout out to my man Crew Reality. What is good with y'all? Hopefully everything is going great, all right? So what we're about to do is we are about to continue to dive deep into Operation Mass Deportation and see exactly what's going on and how things are going to go on, all right? Now, I don't know if you guys have heard, but your boy Tom Homan has said, listen, don't test us. Didn't I tell you? I told you, dude, is Mike, the real life Mike Ehrmantraut. Shout out to Shatera. What's good with it? He's the real life Mike Ehrmantraut, and it's hilarious. So we're going to see exactly where this thing goes. Other things that we're going to talk about are the tariffs that Trump is talking about. We talked about these briefly yesterday. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out the stream yesterday, make sure you guys get a chance and watch that replay when you can. We talked about some tariffs for some particular countries, mainly China, Mexico, and Canada, in regards to quote unquote border crisis issues like fentanyl overflow. All right. We're going to be diving deep into this. All right. So let's get this cracking. Let's see what these folks talking about. Shout out to my man, Black Free Thinker. What's good with it, bro?
Meanwhile, Donald Trump's new border czar, Tom Homan, has toured the southern border and has issued a warning to Democrats who say they will push back on deportation operations. This is what he said.
It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities.
Now, again, we got to just ask this. There's a couple questions that we got to ask, right? A couple questions that we got to ask. And shout out to my man, Black Free Thinker. I definitely appreciate it, bro. Make sure you guys show Black Free Thinker some love for joining the organization and for funding the organization. Absolutely appreciate it.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business.
Definitely appreciate it, bro. Now, here's my question. Why is it that the Democrats are going so hard as to risk going to jail, to risk losing all this funding? Why are they so invested in this is my question for you guys. What do you think? And here's another question that I got to ask everybody, and we're going to continue to talk about this. All right. We're going to continue to talk about this. Why is Sky News so invested in American politics, so much to the point that Sky News always runs parallel with New York Post, Wall Street Journal, and Fox News? Think about it. All the way in Australia. Why do they feel so invested in American politics? I think these are questions that we should discuss. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tedra. Tedra said, I wanted to listen to the stream yesterday, but ended up getting the itis, so I fell asleep. Hey, it be like that. It be like that. Everybody ate good yesterday. How many people? Look, yesterday was the first day of eating good under Trump, allegedly, right? How many people, quote unquote, ate good under Trump yesterday? If y'all ate good under Trump, throw them turkeys in the chat. Oh, man. Shout out to my man, Michael R. What's good with it? Yeah. For one, that's it, right? Rupert Murdoch. But now, what similarities does Rupert Murdoch see with Australian politics and with American politics? Because Sky News is an Australian channel that talks about American politics. How is that relevant to the people of Australia? What do y'all think? Shout out to Shatera. Shatera said, I ate ham and collard greens for breakfast. Listen, I had candy yams. I had dressing. You know what I'm saying? I had macaroni and cheese. I don't even eat pork really all like that because I'm not a big fan, but Thanksgiving ham is different, and I will tear some Thanksgiving ham up if the right person made it, and 2 of the right people made it, so I had some. You know what I'm saying? And I had some turkey drumsticks and thighs because I love drumsticks and thighs. You know what I'm saying? I was eating good yesterday. And didn't spend a Satoshi. You know what I'm saying? I didn't spend 1 Satoshi. You know what I'm saying? That was probably one of the best parts. Shout out to my man, Michael R. Definitely appreciate it. Make sure you guys show my man, Michael R, some love. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for Michael R for funding the organization and growing the organization. Definitely appreciate you, bro.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business.
Definitely appreciate it. If you guys haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor, take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit that bell, please take a moment, hit that bell, and also please share the stream to your social media.
Don't test us. The nation wants a safe country. We've had enough crime in this country, illegal alien crime. It's time to end it and stop it.
Bo, I've got to say, I really like this man. He seems like a man
Shout out to Jay. What's good with it, bro?
And is really going to get this job done.
He's a strong guy. Tom Homan is an effective guy. And actually, Tom Homan is a compassionate guy. You can see him tear up when he's talking about these children, these migrant children who are unaccompanied, who Mexican cartels use for human trafficking purposes. He's actually a compassionate guy. Democrats lost the last election, Danica, because they were on the wrong side of this border issue. And they still continue to be on the wrong side of it. What Tom Homan is saying is, don't test us, because you have crime begetting crime. On the one hand, you have the crime of coming into this country illegally. That's crime number 1. Then crime number 2 would be protecting and harboring those illegal aliens. So you see, it's crime begetting crime. And it's amazing to me that when you think about how important the border issue was to voters just a few weeks ago, for many people.
Let me ask you guys this question. Shout out to the Lith, right? Hashtag the Lith. Do you think that the Lith is paying attention to the Democrat mayors who are willing to put themselves in prison over people that didn't vote for them? Do you think the people are paying attention to that? If you guys think that the people are paying attention to that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, then give me a thumbs down. And I know I'm asking a lot, but we got the 1-to-1 ratio popping off. Shout out to y'all for keeping up with that. Make sure y'all throw some 100s in the chat.
It was the number 1 issue. That all changes now with Donald Trump. But Democrats who were on the wrong side of it, they continue to be on the wrong side of it. And you know what? That means they go to jail, so be it. We've got to take control of our border. We've got to take control of our citizens, make sure our streets are safe, our cities are safe, our children are safe, our women are safe. We deserve that. And I think in Tom Homan, we found someone who actually takes this problem very seriously.
Well, it was an election mandate, and it seems as though Trump has picked the right person for the job, that's for sure. Now, Bo, let's talk about Kamala Harris. She has released her first video since the election. And dear, oh dear, I've got to say, it didn't get the reaction that she would have hoped for. Here is her video message.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you.
Look at all them. Look at all, man, listen. Listen, man, what do y'all think about this video?
I don't think you've changed a thing. Go on, jump.
No, I don't want to jump.
Yes, you do. You smoke crack, don't you?
What do y'all think about this video? How many of y'all think that they should have let her put this video out? If you guys think that they did the right thing by letting her put this video out, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that they did the right thing by letting her put this video out, then give me a thumbs down. I think this was a bad idea. Don't make me feel no good. This don't make me feel no good. This don't make me feel no good.
You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
But look, it's been widely mocked. Some suggested that she actually appeared drunk, Bo. Perhaps she's...
People were saying that she was drunk. You know what I'm saying? They said that she was drunk.
What kind of shit is that?
Shout out to Cameron. What happened here, man?
She's finally unburdened, if I can say, by what has been.
Yeah, I think, Danica, she is imbibing on what we might call the liberal tears martini. She's been drinking one too many of those. You never heard of that. It's actually one part fake joy. Joy was a big part of her campaign.
Hey, Shout out to my man AB. Make sure y'all show AB some love. I definitely appreciate it, bro. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, some ducks in the chat for AB Promotions for funding the organization and growing the organization. Let's go.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the marching dimes. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business.
Definitely appreciate it, bro. Yeah, what is she talking about? That's a great question. Shout out to Cameron. What is she talking about? Take your power away. Take your power away? What's she talking about?
A dash of swing state bitters. She lost all 7 of them. And 150 proof MAGA. That's what's in the liberal tears martini. And she's been drinking way too many of them. Yeah, she appeared drunk on there. But let's be honest. It shows she's out of touch. She was always out of touch. That's the point. When she does videos like this, it's so cringeworthy because that's exactly what her campaign always was. She's a has-been. She's not desirable. No one wants to be a part of her. And so, look, the thing about 2024, I think that's so interesting, is it showed that conservatives have won the meme war. You look at Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan, going on Theo Von's podcast. He took back humor. He made politics funny. And that's something that Kamala Harris could never do. So I think conservatives actually became cool again by embracing humor, because that's something Donald Trump did. And let's be honest, Kamala Harris, there's a lot of material there to lampoon.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. That's for sure. Now, before we let you go, the joyless Joy Reid from MSNBC is yet again calling for her daily shrinking audience.
Now, yeah, we're actually gonna talk about some things that Joy Reid said a little bit later on if we're able to get to it. But how many people have heard about this quote unquote unhinged holiday call that Joy Reid made? I haven't heard about it. I haven't seen it. This is going to be the first time that I see it. And then we got another video that we're going to watch about it. I don't know exactly what she said or what she did. So this is going to all be new to me. But if you guys heard or saw, give us the deets.
Let it be known to ban Trump voting relatives, this time from Thanksgiving dinner.
If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sake.
Who is she talking about? Who is she talking to? Why she got her makeup on like that? This is very interesting. I don't know what to say about this. I'm going to just put it like this. This is very interesting. This actually kind of looks like Joy Reid might have actually spent a little bit too much time in the tanning bed, which is very, very, very interesting. Right? This is very, very, very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a YouTube video address this. I don't think I've ever seen anybody address or talk about this, but this literally looks like she spent too much time in the toaster. And I've never, ever, 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 ever in my life seen that on quote unquote someone like Joy Reid. So just pointing that out. You know what I'm saying? It's, I've seen, people like the other lady who was, talking earlier. I've seen that before. You know what I'm saying? I've not seen this before. So, this is right here something new. You know what I'm saying?
Some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sakes, stop.
Now, and real quick, did she say, I just want to make sure I heard this right. Did she say tofurkey? Did she say, did I hear that right? Was she saying turkey and then said tofurkey, or did she say turkey? What did she say here?
Yeah, you're not wrong there, that's for sure. Now, before we let you go, the joyless Joy Reid from MSNBC is yet again calling for her daily shrinking audience.
That's what she should have hit him with the Boy George. Comma, la chameleon. Do, 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 do. Kamala chameleon. Kamala chameleon. They need to hit her with that. You know what I'm saying?
Audience, let it be known to ban Trump voting relatives, this time from Thanksgiving dinner.
If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it.
Who's to say that they're going to troll anyway? Here goes I really, like I said, I don't really talk about politics all like that. You know what I'm saying? With the family and stuff like that. Me and my brother is real heavy into cryptocurrency. He's more of a cryptocurrency head than I am. And you know, we talk about politics in terms of, you know, cryptocurrency, but I don't really talk about politics like with my family for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like my mom, you know what I'm saying? I'm just glad that she's still here for the most part. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Has some things happen. You know what I'm saying? And you know, my dad is my dad. So, you know, we chopping it up or arguing, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not really, we don't really even talk about politics like that. And my parents was OG couch. You know what I'm saying? My dad don't vote. My dad ain't never voted. You know what I'm saying? My dad got his political leanings, and you know what I'm saying? He has his certain feelings about certain people in politics, but my dad never voted. My dad never encouraged me to vote. As a matter of fact, my dad was like, be careful what kind of forms you fill out, because the government uses that for tracking. So just whatever you decide to do, just understand that if you giving them your information, you giving them your information under a submission, but they probably got it anyway. So, you know what I'm saying? Those are the type of conversations that I had with my dad, right? And you know, as far as most of the rest of my family, man, my family is pretty open-minded, and we be so happy to see each other because we haven't really seen each other in a long time. We're not about to sit there, who you vote for? Ain't nobody on that. You know what I'm saying? We don't really you know what I'm saying, we ain't really got time for that. Do y'all have these kind of political conversations with y'all family? If you guys do, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. We don't really do that. You know what I'm saying? And I know, you know what I'm saying, I'm one of the favorite cousins in my family. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we either arguing to talk, or arguing to talk about a movie, or I got to deal with all the little kids. So I ain't even really got time to mess with the adults because everybody want me to go in a trampoline, or, you know what I'm saying, like be wrestling around on the floor. So my knees would be making me feel like I'm 90 years old in the morning. I don't really be doing all that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's just interesting. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, I don't really be want to talk about politics because, you know, I know how people react. And like, you know, I'm not with the religion and all that. And a lot of times me and my dad will sit around and talk about that. But me and my dad been debating and talking about that for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, me and my dad, we have our conversations, and it's cool and it's fun. You know what I'm saying? That we be building. But like, I'm not about to get into no contentious situation or no contentious fight with my family, the people that I love, my once in a lifetime family. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have my grandparents with me anymore. So I want to try to enjoy the family that I still do have, and get into an argument with them about some politics that's not built to improve my situation anyway. I'm not about to do that. I don't put that much value in that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why so many people do. You know what I mean? If people understand no side of these politics is meant to improve your life, you know what I'm saying? These politics are meant as a bragging right to exert people's control over you, and to make people have certain outlooks about you in order to create a negative position for you in the world, to make things unfairly competitive. If you know that both sides of politics, that's their mission and vision statement, why would you argue with your family about that? To me, most conversations about the family, like I said, should be creating commerce and business to be able to start breaking up the power in these Fortune 500 companies. These people control you through their businesses and through their industries. You know what I'm saying? If you guys would agree, these people control you through their businesses and through their industries. Give me a thumbs up, and give me if you disagree, give me a thumbs down. And they laugh about it. You know, they sit there and say, these people are so silly. We have them under control, and they don't even know that they're under control. And we make fun of them, and we make fun of the fact that they don't have resources, and they commit crimes, and we make fun of their lack of resources and call it low impulse control crime. Hee ha ha. These people are so silly, they can't even produce industries to employ themselves. They have to come get jobs from us. If it wasn't for us, these people wouldn't be anything. That's the joke. And me personally, you know what I'm saying? One thing that I don't like is I don't like people laughing at me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the specialist. What's good with it, bro? I don't like people laughing at me. So I'm definitely not going to let these people who think that they're royalty get any type of enjoyment off of having the ability to think that their contentious arguments between greedily splitting up resources is going to cause any control over my family situation in my household with the people that I love. I'll be damned. I'll be damned if two elderly adosos with liver spots are going to cause me to have issues with the people that I love and care about. I will be damned, because that's that even more of that control that they laugh about at their dinner tables. And if you ask me, these are the things. There needs to be a cultural shift, and people need to see that, and people need to understand that. You know what I'm saying? They need to understand that. It's a different kind of thing. These people will go home and laugh and be like, none of these politics are even built for any of these people. And we have them with their families broken up while we break bread with our family. People got to, you know what I'm saying, start opening up new dimensions. You know what I'm saying?
This time from Thanksgiving dinner.
If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it. Stop acting like we owe you. And for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing. Our Thanksgiving, our choice.
Bo, how?
Our Thanksgiving, our choice. Who's whining? If you ask me, let me ask you guys this. Who's whining? Let's just get that out of the way.
How bitter must this woman be? I mean, give it up already. America voted. Why won't these hosts move on?
Every monologue that Joy Reid does gets more cringe and hackneyed with each one. It's unbelievable. And I personally, Danica, don't know one single person of all the people I know that actually watches her show. But you know what this reminded me of? I used to be on a talk show where I was the one conservative with a host of liberals. And one liberal guy on that show said that he would not break bread with a conservative or Republican. And that stuck with me because I thought, why not? Because this is the thing. When they don't get their way, when liberals don't get their way, what they do is they want to shut down the opposing point of view. That's exactly what Joy Reid is talking about.
And here's the thing. Now, he'll sit here and say this, but they all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. Conservatives do that as well. Conservatives and liberals both agree with and participate in cancel culture as it benefits them. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. And shout out to everybody that's watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. We got 17 people watching. We got 20 likes. If everybody could take a moment and hit it, that would be great. We 3 off. You know what I'm saying? We still in the range of the 1-to-1. That's what's up. Throw them 100s in the chat. Let's get it.
To shun tribalism, shut them down, shut down their voice. And I think that's awful to do because as a conservative, even though we won this last election, it's Thanksgiving here in America. And I think that we can change that because I don't have a desire to not eat with someone that thinks different from me. I mean, what kind of a naive fool would I be if I couldn't do that? And so as an American, especially this Thanksgiving season, I believe that we can actually be the bigger person and should be the bigger person, which is the difference is that my political philosophy wants to lift all boats in this rising tide. Yours wants to discriminate. Theirs wants to discriminate and actually choose things not based on merit.
Now, I want you to pay very close attention. Do you guys peep the game? Do you peep the game? Peep the game. How many people peep the Pilgrim pander? If you peep the Pilgrim pandering, throw some flames in the chat.
So I think as an American who won this last election, we're people who can sit down and break bread with the other person. And we should do that because we can be the bigger person, unlike Joyless Reid, who apparently can't even be near someone who thinks differently from her. That's a terrible point of view.
Yeah, she certainly is a joyless woman. Bo Davidson, great to speak with you as always. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Danica.
All right, so there's that. And that's interesting. That woman's name is Danica. Again, you know what I'm saying? Times are changing. You know what I'm saying? A white woman named Danica and a white woman named Danica and a sunburnt black woman. Things done changed. You know what I'm saying? Things done changed. It is for show 2024. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we're going to check out this next video right here. We're going to check out this next video right here.
After threatening a border ultimatum to Mexico, President-elect Trump touting a wonderful conversation with President Claudia Sheinbaum, saying she, quote, has agreed to stop migration through Mexico, but the Mexican leader disputing what claim with this, quote, "We reiterate that Mexico's position is not to close borders, but to build bridges between governments and between peoples."
So now this is interesting. This is becoming problematic. Shout out to J Lord. What's going on, J Lord? Now, we're going to dive deeper into this in a later article, and I'm not sure when we'll get to it, but we're going to try to get to it because I'm trying to change the order of how I'm doing things so I can get through more. But apparently there was some talk about a positive conversation that came out between Trump and the Mexican president. All right. How many people have heard about that? If you guys heard about that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not hear about that, give me a thumbs down. Now, the interesting thing about this conversation with this Mexican president is that now apparently the Mexican president has gone back on her word, and apparently she's saying that she's not really going to cooperate to the extent that it was portrayed that she's gonna.
Days after threatening a border ultimatum to Mexico, President-elect Trump touting a wonderful conversation with President Claudia Sheinbaum, saying she, quote, has agreed to stop migration through Mexico, but the Mexican leader disputing what claim with this, quote, "We reiterate that Mexico's position is not to close borders, but to build bridges between governments and between peoples." We now are joined on set by former acting ICE director Jonathan Fahey. He was also the former assistant secretary at the Department of.
Shout out to Cameron Jones. Cameron Jones said, "How did Mexico get a small headgear president?" That's a great question. I asked the question yesterday. Isn't that an interesting last name? She wanted them cryptos and not crypto like us. She not like us. You know what I'm saying? She wanted them crypto people, but not crypto like us, though. You know, the crypto people speak Spanish. A lot of them do. You know what I'm saying? And they read different books than we do. You know what I'm saying?
Homeland Security. Jonathan, thank you for being here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You've earned a second piece of pumpkin pie from your wife, who I know and love, because you've come in here. Let's go right to, though, this tariff battle. Clearly, this is just starting between Mexico's President Sheinbaum and incoming President-elect Trump. But President
literally, and what I find fascinating is that everybody is just calling, the Mexican president's name is Sheinbaum, and like literally nobody's questioning anything about it. Like, oh, it's not a Rodriguez, it's not a Lopez, not a Juan, or not a Menendez, or not a Jimenez, or what's another name? What's another Dominguez? None of that. Nobody's questioning the name. Yeah. Shout out to Carlton Wade. Carlton Wade said Columbus was a crypto head too. Yeah, facts. Yeah, and it wasn't Bitcoin. They got the nice little tale. Oh, Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. What's interesting about it is that there was a lot of sailing going on because a lot of folks got evicted in 1492. If you got evicted in 1492, your religion or your nationality might be who? You know what I'm saying? So, Christopher Columbus, from my understanding, it was interesting. He got kicked out of Spain, but he was allegedly Italian. Right? Somebody fact check that for me. Christopher Columbus, if I'm not mistaken, was an Italian who was in Spain, who somehow got kicked out of Spain in 1492 when people who rhyme with blue and other people got kicked out of Spain. How come people don't talk about that?
Biden talked about.
Shout out to Jerry. What's good with it, bro?
In Nantucket just a few hours ago. I want you to listen to what he had to say.
I hope he rethinks it. I think it's a counterproductive thing to do. We're surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and two allies, Mexico and Canada. And the last thing we need to do is begin to screw up those relationships. Illegal crossings are down considerably to what they were back in he was in office. There's a lot more to do, but I just think, I hope they reconsider.
What do you think, Jonathan? Is this tariff threat going to work? Is it a good idea, or should he rethink it?
It's going to work, and I think everyone knows it's going to work. And what I think President Biden doesn't seem to recognize, what we've done for the last 4 years is what's not been working. But, you know, I think Mexico's going to cooperate. The other things they're going to have to deal with, if they don't want to close their southern border,
Now, I want to ask you guys this. How many people are sold on these tariffs? How many people are sold on the Trump tariffs? If you are sold on a Trump tariff and you believe, yeah, this is a good idea, this is going to work, I can't wait to see how these things go, then give me a thumbs up. If you guys are not sold on the Trump tariffs, you think that it's a bad idea, you think that it's not going to work, then give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Black Free Thinker. Free Thinker says the tariffs are a horrible idea. If you guys agree with Black Free Thinker, y'all know what to do. If y'all disagree, y'all also know what to do. We're going to go over some stuff about tariffs in a later stream. We're also going to talk about Trump's quote-unquote energy dominance agenda in a later stream as well. That stream will be on the Magatron channel. All right. So if you're not subscribed to the Magatron channel, I would advise you to take a moment, subscribe to the Magatron channel. If one of the mods would make that easy and throw that link in the chat for people to hit that link, I would be very much appreciative.
going to re-implement Remain in Mexico, which means all these migrants claiming asylum.
Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. What's good with it, bro?
And we're not going to let them in. Other things that President Trump has in his, arsenal are things like we could possibly tax remittance to Mexico, which are upwards of $60 billion per year, going back from people here sending it back to Mexico, which is a boom for their economy. So if we tax that, it harms them. So, and plus humanitarian aid. I think this will be short-lived. I know that President of Mexico has to, posture a little bit, but my guess is by January 20th, they'll be in line. The borders are going to be shut down, or at least every effort will be made to do so.
It's interesting because you mentioned Remain in Mexico. We know that reinstating that is among Trump's earliest decisions he'll make, but it does take two to tango. She has to go along with it. But I've covered some of the caravans. The most recent one was the 6th caravan that's come out of southern Mexico since Sheinbaum took over in October. So she clearly hasn't slowed that flow. Back under AMLO, under the first Trump administration, I reported from Tapachula because Trump was able to get AMLO to put troops, Mexican troops, on their southern border to stop it.
Shout out to Vovo. I appreciate you, Vovo. You guys see the link that Vovo just put in the chat? Make sure that you guys take a moment and go and subscribe to that channel. All right. Shout out to the replay gang. If the chat still end up being in the video, hit the link, right? This link right here. Make sure you go over there and subscribe to that channel. That's what we're going to be talking about, the energy dominance and the Department of Government Efficiency and all of that stuff. All right.
Does that need to happen as well?
Yeah, I think that needs to happen, and that's certainly going to help. But I really do think that just President Trump's presence alone as the president is going to deter a lot of people. But I think they're going to ultimately cooperate. And then the second step to this is deport the serious criminals, which are making every effort to do so, which will also be a significant deterrent, because a lot of these migrants, as you know from covering it, are paying anywhere from $7,000 to $9,000 to be brought into the country by these coyotes, or what they call them, coyotes.
So again, I want you guys to understand this, right? The migrants are paying criminals $7,000 to $9,000 to human traffic them, right? Self-trafficking, to smuggle them into the United States illegally, right? So what I find fascinating, right? What I find fascinating about this is that these people are paying criminal brokers. Like, they're involved in a black market criminal trade system, and it's just okay. I don't understand. I don't understand why it's never discussed that way. Does anybody get? Does it make sense? Why is it never discussed that way? It's always discussed as if that's not the case. It's always discussed as if that's not happening. That's not happening. That's not what's going on. Seriously? How does that work?
So if they're going to get turned around right away or not make it in, there's really not going to be the market for these smugglers and human traffickers that there was under the Biden administration.
Jonathan, I just want to play for you. I had an exclusive interview with the acting ICE director, PJ Lechleitner, and he really spoke about his frustration with sanctuary cities, particularly when they stop ICE from going in after violent criminals. Listen here.
Let's deal with violent criminal actors. We can all agree that they need to be dealt with. I think so. I don't think there's anywhere that they want someone marching out of like state or local custody because, okay, they served their time. Well, now they shouldn't be here. So let us take them in a safe way and get them removed appropriate in accordance with law.
So he clearly, this is what the incoming Trump administration wants to do. How do you see this sanctuary jurisdiction battle sizing up?
You know, it's pretty interesting. And I think what he said, nobody wants serious criminals to stay. That's really not true because these sanctuary cities have really doubled down. You've seen the Boston mayor, the Massachusetts governor, the governor of Illinois, that they don't want to even deport the most serious criminals. And as you know from last week, Laken Riley's trial, her killer was released by the New York sanctuary city, their policies. So, this is going to be a battle. It's going to be a tough battle. But I think ultimately most of them are going to yield. Things that need to be done or withhold funding. Maybe there's legislation, maybe tie it to the tax legislation, maybe the SALT part of the deduction in the tax legislation, because this needs to end. Everyone should agree. Unfortunately, they don't, or the far left of the Democratic Party doesn't agree that the most serious criminals should be removed. But
who wouldn't agree that the most serious criminals need to be removed? How many times have I reiterated this, that when it comes to discussions about this, for the most part, the discussion has been the prioritization will be on violent criminal offenders, right? We've reiterated that multiple times, and yet and still they don't even want the quote unquote violent criminal offenders to be dealt with. Like, that's just bizarre. It's just wild.
I think there are going to be battles, and ICE is going to step up to the plate to a level they have not seen. And do they want to be exposed for keeping the next killer of Laken Riley or type of situation in the country? I certainly hope not.
ICE already doing Operation Athens, named in honor of Laken Riley, going after Venezuelan TDA gang members. Jonathan Fahey, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for being here.
So there's that. All right. So again, it's heating up. And again, me personally, I will never understand it. I just do not get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why this is happening as far as this crazy resistance that, like, they're just willing to crash out and go to jail or just not be cooperative with this. It's bizarre to me. Like, there's got to be something else going on here, some other agenda at play or just something, because who does this, man? Like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
We start with a battle.
Now, you guys remember this video from yesterday? How many people remember this video from yesterday? We're going to finish this video from yesterday. Let's go.
We start with a battle at the border. President-elect Trump's incoming administration is facing its first policy clash over a controversial plan to curb illegal immigration through mass deportations. Leaders of sanctuary cities and blue states are gearing up to fight. Los Angeles passing an ordinance, Denver and Chicago.
I think that people that have voted for these people for this long and have never had them fight to the extent that they're willing to fight, this shows you what these people are willing to do. They're willing to go against a complete different administration, go hard in the paint. You see this, hard in the paint, to the point where they talking about, yeah, we'll go to jail over people that didn't even vote for them. Over people that didn't even vote for them. How should people that voted for them take this? How should they look at this? How should they feel based on what they're willing to do for people that didn't vote for them or pay them a dime in tax money or even a dime in lobby money versus what they'll do for people that have paid them tax money and have voted? This is just, if you ask me, this is foul.
Chicago mayors now speaking out. In a moment, I will speak with one Democratic mayor joining the resistance. But first, the Washington Post reporting Trump's administration is eyeing a, quote, funding showdown Advisors reportedly plotting to, quote, unilaterally strip federal resources from Chicago and other Democratic-run cities if they refuse to participate in deportations, including withholding federal funds. Chicago's mayor is clapping back, telling the Washington Post, quote, there will not be.
You bust at me, you better believe I'm busting back. Of course, Chi-Town, Brandon Johnson. I'm a hustler, M-I-G-R-A-N-T-S. I'm a hustler, M-I-G-R-A-N-T-S. What the fuck is that? Whoa, ain't no one at the door. Hey, what you riding for? Hey, killing shot at the door. Trump want to deport? We ain't deport no more. Chi-Town, dollar bill, Brandon Johnson, like, stop.
Any cooperation with ICE deportations, saying the city will challenge any threats to its funding. Trump's appointed border czar is already making blatant threats to local officials, visiting the border this week alongside Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation. We're not waiting till January. We're already talking. We're already planning. We're going to put a plan in place and secure this nation.
Now, we're going to react to this entire Tom Homan speech that we've been seeing parts and pieces of. If you guys are down for that and you want to see it, then throw some flames in the chat. If not, you know what I'm saying, we'll keep it pushing. But I got a little time coming up that I'll be able to get a lot of content out for y'all. So that's one of the things that I want to try to do. So hopefully that'll be something that y'all like. So let me know. You know what I'm saying?
At the highest level it's ever seen. It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from immigration authorities. Don't test us.
They are already working. NBC News reporting local law enforcement agencies are preparing to ramp up a controversial program, allowing them to partner with ICE to bolster manpower amid Trump's deportation efforts. Trump was clear in his campaign, and now he's making it priority one. Here with me to discuss is Mark Thompson, radio host, reverend, and civil rights activist, and Lee Gallant, attorney and deputy director of the Immigrants' Rights Project at the ACLU. Reverend, I will start with you. I know this is not everybody's belief system, but from a moral perspective, many of the places that are sanctuary cities in the United States are looking after people who are distressed, who are in danger, who have been victims of policies that sometimes have been supported by previous American administrations. So just from a moral standpoint, what does it say about this incoming administration that they're trying to kick out the least of these during the season where we're supposed to be looking after those who can't take care of themselves?
Let me ask you guys this question, right? We're talking again, we went down this rabbit hole yesterday. We're going to go down this rabbit hole again. As far as the morality thing goes, how moral is it to find a criminal cartel member when you know what the cartel is capable of because you're from the same culture as the cartel and the cartel operate mainly in your communities? You know what they do. You know how they get down. You fund those people and pay them $7,000 to $9,000 to illegally get you into the country. How moral is that? While we're talking about morality and Thanksgiving. And shout out to everybody, man. You guys are killing it on the 1-to-1 ratio. Throw those 100s in the chat. We got 24 and 24. That's what's up. I appreciate you guys. Let's go.
Well, first of all, let me commend you, Dr. Johnson, for choosing this topic in this season, and particularly on Thanksgiving Eve, when Thanksgiving, there would be no Thanksgiving if it were not for immigration. It was the early colonists who immigrated here and took over the land. And that is why we celebrate Thanksgiving, obviously, because of some peace that was made to commemorate this day, although it's questionable whether that peace really happened. So morally, yes, this is out of order. And if Trump would ever bother to open the Bibles that he's hawking, it said, "Cursed is the one who does not provide justice to the foreigner or to the immigrant."
Facts. This dude needs to be booed. This dude needs to be booed.
What kind of shit is that?
I don't think they can do anything, Jason. I don't think they can do anything in these cities, but it serves a purpose because his supporters like to see the bluster. They like to see the saber rattling. I don't think they can go through with it, and they know they can. It is impossible to do it. Not only is it impossible, it is morally wrong.
Shout out to Bronze God. What's good with it, bro? Bronze God said, I know he didn't. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, and he will.
Bitch up! Swing the remix guard! I'll tear this bitch up! Tie this bitch up! I will! Tie this bitch up! I will! Tie this bitch up! I'll tear this bitch up!
That is shout out to Shatira. That's a great point. Shatira said, I am also tired of the argument that U.S. harmed these places, so we must help. It's called conquering. We dealt with it, so can they. I agree 110%. And we dealt with it with less. If you guys agree with Shatira, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. What people need to understand is now you understand that a certain group of people has been going worldwide, waging a war, organize and deal with it. Or not. Organize and deal with it in the same savage way that we've been dealt with, or not. It's just that simple.
So, Lee, I always say this, I'm not a lawyer, I don't play one on TV. Legally, what standing does the incoming administration have?
Shout out to Jay. Facts. If you guys agree with Jay, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Jay said, there's a goon factory that supplies endless bootlicks to go against our interests. Facts. If you guys agree with Jay Fields, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Crew Reality. Crew Reality said, did he just pull a Jesse Lee? Thank the white man for slavery and taking us out of Africa, allegedly, right? Allegedly, right? The colonizer for our genocide and stealing our land. Now we have Thanksgiving. He acting like a butter biscuit, man.
To force cities to deport people who are in sanctuary cities. And I want to make it clear to the audience, oftentimes people in sanctuary cities, they may also be refugees. They may actually be here legally, even if they are not.
Let me ask you this question. If you've paid somebody, let me ask you this. If you have sought out a criminal, paid that criminal $9,000, and that criminal took your $9,000 and delivered you to a destination, at that point, are you still a refugee? Or are you a refugee at the point where you first enter the first safe place that's more safe than the place that you originated from? When are you the refugee?
Documented because they've been accepted as refugees. So is there a legal standing to what the Trump administration, incoming Trump administration, claims they want to do?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I think there are going to be enormous court battles if they try to cut funding. Those occurred during the first Trump administration. I think they're going to be heightened now, and I think you are going to see blue states pushing back to say, look, you can't cut our funding for these reasons. How those play out, we'll have to see, but I think those are going to be enormous legal battles. But to your point, I mean, we're talking about going into cities, not just blue cities, all cities, rounding up people who have been living here for a long time.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. He's talking about this rounding up people and all this stuff. And if they do round up people, I mean, they do this at the trap houses every day, right? But who's talking about, quote unquote, going around and rounding people up? Who's made that verbiage? Who said that?
Contributing, don't have criminal convictions. It's going to result in families being separated, U.S. citizen children being sent to foster care. It's not good for the economy. It's not good as a matter of policy, and we will do everything we can to stop it legally to ensure that we have a balanced immigration system. Look, we're not oblivious to the fact that people want immigration reform, but I think when people see what they're proposing in practice, not just sort of, bland statements, but actually what it looks like in practice, I think people will hopefully push back and say, well, we don't want families to be separated again. We don't want the military in our streets. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's going to require more than just the courts. It's going to require the public saying, wait, that's not what we meant by immigration reform.
Very quick, because we're running up on a break. Reverend, I want to play you just a quick clip from Steve Miller and get your response on the other side.
Who's going to stand up up and say the cartels are gone, the criminal migrants are gone, the gangs are gone, America is for Americans and Americans only.
Your thoughts really quickly on whether or not America will have a problem with seeing this happen.
Well, I think as has been said, people will realize what this is. And
now here goes my question, right? You see this guy that's talking, the old guy, the guy that's preaching. Why is he there? Why is he there? My question is, there's a lot of migrants who have come into the United States, and I'm sure that MSNBC would have no problem giving them a job illegally and putting them on there to discuss these things politically. I don't understand why this particular guy is here. I don't understand what he's doing. Can someone tell me what this guy and what the show host? Now, the show host, this is the guy who said that nobody needs black male votes. If you guys remember that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't remember that, give me a thumbs down. This is the black man that said that nobody cares about or needs black votes. We have replacement votes for black men, right? He's the guy that said that, and they clearly didn't have replacement votes for black men, because it looks like what happened in this election is that the United States voted a replacement candidate for Kamala Harris. So he was clearly wrong about that, right? But what is he doing? What is this? What I don't understand what's going on here. Who is this supposed to benefit? How and for what? Who is this message targeted towards? Do you guys think that this is monolith enforcement? If you guys think that this is monolith enforcement, y'all know what to do.
And turn against it. But unfortunately, we're about to see the application of WWE entertainment and sparring applied over the next 4 years. That's all this is about. It's a sensationalism and it's drama.
Both of you, please stick around for a moment. I want to turn the spotlight on Democratic mayors nationwide. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, threatening Denver's mayor with jail time after he voiced resistance to deportation plans.
They willing to go to jail. What did I tell you? I told you they're going to do that time. 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 When the last time they did that time for some citizens or some people that voted for them? They're going to do that time for them illegal migrants. They are going to do that time. They're going to do that time. They're going to do that rap. They're going to do that stretch. They're going to hold it down. They're going to do that time. That is crazy to me. If you ask me, that's just insane.
Now, Hoboken Mayor Robbie Ballas is gearing up to take on Homan for a second time. He made headlines in 2018 for tweeting, quote, "Bring it on," a response to similar threats. Balla designating Hoboken a sanctuary city at the time, his first official act. Joining me now is Hoboken Mayor Robbie Balla. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for joining us this evening. I'm going to start with this. I appreciate your bravery. I appreciate your boldness. 2018 is not 2024. You have an incoming administration that says they will literally use or attempt to use the military to forcefully deport people.
Greece, what's good with it, bro? Greece said on the 20th, they're all going to fold like a flip phone. I agree with you on that. I agree. If you guys agree with Greece, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree. I agree 100%. I believe that them folks are going to flip like a flip phone. And they're going to be talking all tough now. And then it's going to stop. You know what I'm saying? It's going to stop. It's going to be the whole, quote unquote, nothing to see here, folks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, in fact, except for, right, shout out to Cameron. Cameron said, except for the black ones, they're going to crash out. Right. And why? Why? It's going to be Brandon Johnson and all them doing all that wildness. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be your boy Brandon Johnson doing all that insanity.
People. As a mayor, what would you be able to do if the Trump administration says we're going to send armed troops into Hoboken and pull people out of sanctuary cities, pull people out of buildings based on whatever list that we have?
Well, thankfully, we have something called the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey that protects our rights. In 2018, the AG Graywall passed.
The Constitution of New Jersey is not going to protect your rights against a federal mass deportation mandate, because mass deportation falls under immigration, and immigration is a federal responsibility under the Supremacy Clause. You guys remember when we went through all that? If you guys remember when we went through all that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't remember when we went through all that, give me a thumbs down. So why is it that this individual thinks that he's going to somehow be able to supersede the Supremacy Clause? Again, like, he's sitting here saying, if you understand the Constitution. Do you understand the Constitution? You know, like, seriously, like, do you understand the Constitution? And shout out to you guys. You guys are killing it. We got 29 people watching, and we got 29 likes. We got the 1-to-1 ratio popping off. Y'all have been killing it throughout. Make sure y'all throw some 100s in the chat, just so people know, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, y'all enjoying the content and is there. Let's go.
That said that in the state of New Jersey, local law enforcement is supposed to be for local law enforcement and will not cooperate with federal authorities in the enforcement of immigration policies. We codified that here in Hoboken through an executive order to make sure that we expend our local tax dollars and our local resources to prioritize local issues. So if they come in, we're not afraid of the authoritarianism drumbeat of the Trump administration. We've seen that movie before. We're ready for it. We're really focused on making Hoboken a safe place from a public safety standpoint. We have a deficit in law officers. We have issues with public safety, with homelessness. We're focused on local priorities. We want our local tax dollars to be expended on local priorities, and that's what we'll do here in Hoboken.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for pointing that out also, that you have sort of a legal backing for being able to resist this. I keep seeing terrible images from that movie about 15 years ago, The Siege, where they were literally just taking people and putting them in camps in the city. My next question.
Is this fear mongering? Where are people? Again, they've done no type of recall, right? They've not tried to address anything. This is one of the reasons why people are walking away from these type of media outlets. This is why people are leaving channels like MSNBC to come watch channels like Undocumented. This is why, you know what I'm saying?
For you is the threat. There's a stick and a carrot, right? You know, if you obey in advance, then maybe the Trump administration will just come and yank people out of sanctuary cities. But they're also threatening to take federal funding. What do you think is a city's response to that threat? I mean, be tied up in court saying, hey, the federal funds that you say that you're going to take away aren't connected to sanctuary cities. How would you fight the battle of the federal government pulling money away?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of machismo and testosterone-driven policies by the federal government. This fear-mongering about yanking.
What does that mean, machismo and testosterone-driven policies? Machismo and testosterone-driven policies? So it would be better, I guess, if we had feminine and estrogen-driven policies? I mean, I don't understand here. I don't see anything genderized about any of these policies. So this is what we're, so now here, right? Now we do the flip into the, somehow this is a, I don't know, this is a gender, this is a gender thing. This is xenosogyny. this is xenosogyny. You know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Mr. Mayor, thank you for pointing that out also, that you have sort of a legal backing for being able to resist this. I keep seeing terrible images from that movie about 15 years ago, The Siege, where they were literally just taking people and putting them in camps in the city. My next question for you is the threat. There's a stick and a carrot, right? You know, if you obey in advance, then maybe the Trump administration will just come and yank people out of sanctuary cities. but they're also threatening to take federal funding. What do you think is a city's response to that threat? I mean, would you just be tied up in court saying, hey, the federal funds that you say that you're going to take away aren't connected to sanctuary cities? How would you fight the battle of the federal government pulling money away?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of machismo and testosterone-driven policies by the federal government.
And again, okay, so that's a bad thing. Do you have testosterone? I have a lot of testosterone. Like, I have a lot of testosterone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a lot of testosterone. Literally, like, I'm one of those type of people, like, I'll be in UFC shape if I work out hard for a month. Literally, I've never been counseled about my testosterone. Like, no one's ever said it's a bad thing. So I think that this is interesting, right? I find it just more evident that misandry is encouraged over here on this side here, right? Misandry is encouraged. And misogyny is demonized. There's absolutely zilch wrong with being a man. I wouldn't trade being a man for anything. I don't know what it's like to be a woman, and I'm sure being a woman is special to women who are women, and I'd expect them to feel that way. Don't expect me to hate being a man because I'm not a woman. I enjoy being a man, and I would rather not be anything else because my experience that being a man has given me is very much satisfactory for my knowledge of life. Ooh, does that make me misogynist? If it makes me misogynist, well, then maybe I need to change the name of the channel. You know what I'm saying?
This fear-mongering about yanking people and cities like Hoboken and other cities across America harboring.
Now listen, shout out to AB Promotions, because AB Promotions knows the area, right? And I know Hoboken. How many people know about Hoboken, the area of Hoboken? If anybody ever watched that TV show, I think it used to come on TLC. It was called Cake Boss, and they had the guy named Buddy. You know what I'm saying? He was like an Italian dude that owned like a family-owned cake shop, and they they made cakes all the time and pastries and different things like that. Buddy strikes me as the type of dude that, you know what I'm saying, when the camera's not on, you know what I'm saying, uses the word jigs, you know what I'm saying, and probably voted for Trump, right? I don't see this being very popular in Hoboken, New Jersey. Hoboken is a very upscale area with a lot of like old families with like a lot of old money, like close to New York City metro area. I don't see this going over very well at all. I don't see this going over very well at all. You know what I'm saying? But you guys can let me know what you think.
Illegal immigrants, like we're scuttling them away in tents or closets. It's just not true. Mayors are on the ground. We fight, and we have a pulse of a city. Hoboken is a fair and welcoming city, and if those threats of federal funding are levied against us, they lost in the last administration. We challenged those policies. They lost because our Constitution, New Jersey, protects us. There's a bill pending in the New Jersey State Legislature, the Immigrant Trust Act, which I urge the legislature to pass quickly. And that is a codified policy which will give us protections if these threats of federal funding are actually attempted by the federal government.
And Mr. Mayor, one last question, and I so appreciate, again, I cannot express enough how much I appreciate your bravery in the face of this authoritarianism. Have you had an opportunity, or have you reached out to?
Application of the law is the new authoritarianism. Let me ask you guys this question. How long do you think that this MSNBC news anchor will be employed? Do you if you all think that this MSNBC news anchor has a bright future ahead of him, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that this MSNBC news anchor has a bright future ahead of him, then give me a thumbs down. I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of this guy too much longer. I don't think we are.
to other mayors? Are mayors, the National Alliance of Mayors, are you getting together and sort of swapping policies so that other cities that have sanctuary cities can learn how to protect themselves? Because I think that what you're laying out here might have to be a roadmap for other places around the country.
Absolutely. Mayors across America are on the front lines of defending the rights of ordinary citizens in our cities. So we always work together.
Let me ask you guys this question. Again, we have to do this. Are undocumented migrants ordinary citizens? Why are you talking about protection of ordinary citizens when this entire discussion is about people who are not ordinary and who are not citizens? Like, are you serious?
Threats of federal funding are actually attempted by the federal government.
And Mr. Mayor, one last question, and I so appreciate, again, I cannot express enough how much I appreciate your bravery in the face of this authoritarianism. Have you had an opportunity, or have you reached out to other mayors? Are mayors, the National Alliance of Mayors, are you getting together and sort of swapping policies so that other cities that have sanctuary cities can learn how to protect themselves? Because I think that what you're laying out here might have to be a roadmap for other places.
Facts. Facts. If y'all agree with Carlton, throw some flames in the chat. Carlton said they worried about being rounded up. I'm focused on rounding up crypto coins before January. Bro, you ain't never lied. Me too. Me too. That's one of the reasons why bro, I done picked up so much overtime so I could, get some certain investment goals popping off before January. That's one of the reasons I can't even stream all like that. You know what I'm saying? I got to get the guaranteed though. You know what I'm saying? So I could throw down on crypto.com and Coinbase real quick.
Places around the country.
Absolutely. Mayors across America are on the front lines of defending the rights of citizens in our cities. So we always work together. We always trade ideas. We always talk about policies, develop best practices. And that time could not be more critical than right now when we are again on the front lines. I will emphasize once again that we are focused here in Hoboken on the priorities of the residents of Hoboken.
Shout out to shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. KO Kid Fit said, laughing my ass off. I might have to grab a Coonology mug. Yo, get you a hot Coonology mug, bro. How many of y'all, if y'all feeling the hot Coonology mugs, throw the Coon emoji in the chat. Get you a Coonology mug. You know what I'm saying? Get some of that hot Coonology up in you. It's nice on a warm winter day. You know what I'm saying? On a warm winter day, coffee from a hot Coonology mug will make racism seem like it went away. Go ahead and get you one. You know what I'm saying?
And those are very bread and butter issues. And those are where our tax dollars, our budget really needs to be focused on. If the federal government wants to spend its money on fear mongering with immigrants and demonizing immigrants, let them spend their budget on that. But they're not going to spend our budget in Hoboken and other cities on these types of tactics. I can tell you that, and I can bet you many mayors across the city would say the same thing.
I would love to be on that mayoral group chat. Mayor Robbie Ballas of Hoboken, New Jersey, thank you so much for joining us tonight on The Beat.
This show called The Beat, I'll tell you what, I do not think that this is going to last very long. Now, I want you guys to just be aware of this, right? Be aware of this. You know, we be talking about these value chains. How many people have seen the value chain that's starting to develop between Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Mark Zuckerberg? What do you guys think is going on with that? What do you guys think is going on with that? Look, shout out to M. Esquino. M. Esquino said, Coonology mug. What, are you serious? I work for the U.S. government. I can get you a red, white, and blue one. You know what I'm saying? I can get you a red, white, and blue one if you want. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? I got you.
Fallout is continuing to plague some of America's biggest news brands. Forbes reports MSNBC and CNN ratings slashed in half post-election. MSNBC's primetime audience has dipped 53% since the week before the election.
Where did everybody go? Where did the people that used to watch this trash, where did they go? What happened to them? Remember MSNBC? Oh, you good. You in Iraq. They ain't going to know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Get you a hot Koonology mug. Get you some good American coffee over there. They'd be like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? You'd be able to just, tell them, you will sell it to them too as an American souvenir if they want one. And you know what I'm saying? I can cut you in. You know what I'm saying? we can get it popping for real. Get the global commerce popping off. You know what I'm saying? MSNBC is down 53% viewership. CNN is down 47% viewership. No one is watching this crap. This crap. These people try to say that platforms like mine, people like me, are spreading mis and disinformation. Now they have to go and do an entire broadcast cleanup job to explain why they were so inaccurate about gauging the popular thought ideas of American people and how they were completely thrown off by their inaccurate election estimates. How did these things happen? Let me ask you guys this question. Who is still watching MSNBC and CNN for news? If you are an individual that's still watching MSNBC and CNN for news, give me a thumbs up. If you are not, then give me a thumbs down. And also, if you haven't, give me a thumbs up on the video. All right. Or if you haven't and you don't like what's going on here, before you leave, hit that thumbs down.
According to new Nielsen ratings data, a steep drop-off for the left-of-center network, rivaled by a 47% drop by CNN, while Fox News has largely held onto its audience since the president-elect Donald Trump's victory. Now, this is a significant exodus, and many so-called media experts are puzzled about what is driving this phenomenon. Not us here, though, because we watch some of MSNBC's Thanksgiving coverage.
You right-wingers shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes. You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety? No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears.
Who's paying attention to any of this? Let me ask you guys this question. How many people appreciate this rant by Joy Reid? And who do you all think wrote it? Do you think that this was like her own creative content? Like, does she own creative rights to this rant? Or do you think that the network made her do this? I think she better start dusting off her resume too.
Shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of your votes? You don't want to be around me because I voted for fascism. No fair. I'm coughing on you with COVID, but you want me to wear a mask for your safety? No fair. My body, my choice. Well, here's an alternative thought. Make your own dinner, MAGA. Make your own sandwiches. Wipe your own tears. Troll amongst yourselves with Elon and leave us alone.
Well, that's MSNBC primetime host Joy Reid making the argument that families should not come together this holiday season. Politics above all, it seems.
If you expect the 73 million who voted for the prosecutor, not the felon, and particularly the 92% of Black women who voted for Kamala to give you a cookie for your vote, a trophy, a hug, a high five, you might be asking too much. If we want to eat with you, we will. But if we just want some peace over the holidays and we don't want to put up with your trolling while we eat our tofurkey, get over it.
Yeah. I don't think anyone cares.
Well, joining me this week to discuss this and much more is Sky News contributor
Should I do
James
it?
Bolt and Radio 2.
Should I do it? Should we give it to her?
Just like a woman. Because some of you niggas, you be acting just like a woman. Nigga, Reaper keep it 1,000. He going along with the fuck shit. Don't touch me. I'm about to change on your ass. I'll beat your ass with my elbows. Werewolf style.
That's hilarious.
Double C breakfast host, Stephen Senatiempo. James, let's start with you. I mean, the audiences are absolutely fleeing this network. Is it maybe because of some of the negativity putting to air?
I can see it that way. I remember on the first show after the election, I said, I think the viewers are going to come back. And I've been proved so spectacularly wrong. I've had to do some research to try and see if I can still be right. I did see in 2020, there was a 36% downfall for CNN and 50% in primetime for CNN and MSNBC in primetime, immediately after the election. So maybe there's just a bit of like post-election people on watching. And I think also the left is largely in mourning at the reemergence of Donald Trump, and they don't want to hear that negativity in their lives night after night. I think once he gets into power, I think they'll come back.
Yeah, Stephen, so much for unity, which the left is always so big on. Now it just appears to be temper tantrums. And if you have a family member that you might have a political disagreement with, well, we're not going to eat with you this Thanksgiving.
I find it, well, hang on. Look, I think you guys are reading too much into this. I think Joy Reid belled the cat when she said they're eating tofurkey. That's why they're not watching television. They're all too weak to turn the TV on. It's not even real turkey. But look, I have a cousin who is a Greens voter, and we have a great time at Christmas time over the dinner table arguing about politics. But you know what? At the end of the day, you eat dessert and you're happy and you move on. I don't know what it is with these people that just can't get past their side losing an election. I mean, it's just absolutely extraordinary. There are people in this building who do actually like each other on either side of the aisle. Not many, but there are a few. So it can actually be done. I mean, it just proves you're a well-rounded human being if you can sit down and actually enjoy the company of somebody that doesn't necessarily agree with you. But that spray from Joy Reid was absolutely extraordinary. Look, I got to say, it doesn't surprise me because, I mean, they went all in during the campaign, so I guess they had to respond in the way they have, but it is quite unhinged, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
To the Joy Reid thing, I just did want to play this one excerpt from the rant that I just cannot believe went where. If we have the clip.
Stop acting like we owe you, and for God's sakes, stop whining. It's embarrassing.
I hope no one thinks she's whining. I hope no one puts in the paper that she's mad. I hope everyone knows that it's actually the Republicans that are whining. But
again, yeah, and I think that that's interesting, right? Because we see who's whining. We see who's whining. Joy Reid is whining. If you guys, shout out to Brooklyn Queen. What's good with the Brooklyn Queen? If you guys would agree, Joy Reid is whining. Give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. She's whining. You know what I'm saying? Now, we've seen enough of that, right? It's just going to be these guys, for the most part, doing their little analysis on Joy Reid. I think we got higher priority stuff to talk about. Maybe if we can find the original clip at some point, we can do our own analysis on Joy Reid, right? But we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Trinde Aragua. Trinde Aragua in Tennessee. Because remember, these are the people that they want to protect. And you got to ask yourself the question, why do these people want to protect Trinde Aragua? What's so good about Trinde Aragua that they're worth protecting and preserving and going to jail for? And they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Somebody make it make sense.
Have you had any word of any of these members here in Nashville?
In Operation Crime and Justice, Fox 17 News pressing Nashville's mayor about a growing gang threat in Tennessee's bigger cities.
Now, this follows the human trafficking arrest of this man, a member of the Trinde Aragua gang member down in Chattanooga just this week. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker at the Metro Courthouse after tracking this story for more than a week.
People are asking me where this gang is the most active or saturated. It's a topic that I've covered for weeks now, but I've really struggled to get clear answers from local leaders and the TBI.
They're back in all of our major cities.
TBI Director David Roush made a shocking announcement earlier this month warning Tennessee communities of a growing threat from a South American gang in major cities. Have you had any word of any of these members here in Nashville?
What I will say is Chief Drake has advised us, even before the TBI report, we knew that they were active in Tennessee. The Metro Nashville Police Department has a very active and successful gang unit, and they have continually monitored that activity.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell says his office will continue to count on MMPD for intelligence and high-profile arrests. That's thanks to a strong collaboration with the U.S. Attorney's Office. But right now, you haven't heard of any sightings or arrests?
Right now, I'm not aware. I will say it this way. I know that MMPD is aware of their presence in Tennessee, and they're monitoring what the situation looks like in Nashville.
We asked Metro Police if they've witnessed this gang in Nashville or have made any related arrests. A spokesperson with MMPD did not go into specifics, saying they are well aware of TDA and MMPD has a heightened awareness.
We've got to bring this to an end.
Pushing for action, Fox 17 News spoke with U.S. Senator Bill Hagerty this morning after TBI's Chattanooga arrest of Adelvis Rodriguez Carmona.
It is deeply concerning. I've met with the leader of TBI, Director Rosh, who's gone through this with me. Basically, Venezuela has unloaded their jails. Their crime operations have moved not only to other countries in Latin America, they're coming into America right now.
For my extensive coverage on this issue, we have this both on our website, Fox17.com, and our YouTube page, Fox Nashville. And I'll continue to work until we get answers. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News.
All right, so there's that. All right, so I just put a link in the chat, right? And we're going to get to that link in the chat in a minute because this is insanity. This is insanity, all right? We're going to talk a little bit more about this Trinidad Aragua sighting or experience here in, or not here in, but in Chattanooga, right? Because this is another place where they weren't at before, but they are here now.
Enforcement in our area staying alert after reports of Venezuelan gang activity in several Tennessee cities, including Chattanooga. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kim Chapman with you.
And I'm Josh Rowe. Police say they are always looking out for signs of gang activity and for victims of those gangs. We told you yesterday, the TBI said a joint task force arrested Adelvis Rodriguez Carmona, along with 3 other people who say he faces human trafficking charges and is known to have connections with the Tren de Aragua gang.
When we sat down with the heads of the TBI, Chattanooga Police Department, and the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office yesterday, we were told identifying gang members isn't always easy.
There has to be a combination of these indicators before you are identified as a member of a gang. And so that's I think that's important to understand. And in terms of active engagement with the gang, there is, again, it's all part of that assessment that we do to determine a person's individual involvement in activity.
And the TBI says victims do not always believe they are victims in trafficking cases.
News Channel 9's Mary Beth Main from joins us.
You guys are going to see some of this insanity, all right? Once we get through this part right here, once we get through this, shout out to Lehman Lucas. What's good with it, bro? Once we get through this news clip right here, we're going to take a look at a press release, all right? And once we take a look at this press release, we're going to watch this wild video. And I'm going to just let you guys do your own assessment on it.
Now with her continued reporting on concerns over gang activity in Chattanooga. Mary Beth.
Josh, Kim, after that operation, the TBI says they have reason to believe that those 3 others in custody are victims. We reached out to our surrounding counties to see if they've seen any of this activity themselves and spoke with one local activist who shed light on trafficking in our area.
This gang, it's females from Venezuela, the vast majority of which who have been abducted, frankly, on the streets of Venezuela and smuggled into the U.S.
This affidavit says a woman police believe was being advertised online as a prostitute, asking men to meet at this Chattanooga hotel, has a similar story.
You see, so again, they're following the same profile that we talked about when we first started discussing them. They're starting to set up and open up these illegal operations. Okay. Shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell, please take a moment, hit the bell. I really appreciate you guys. We got the 1-to-1 exactly popping off. We got 33 and 33. That's what's up. Throw them 100s in the chat. All right. And let's try to get the likes to 60.
Originally from Venezuela, she went to live in Chicago before being arrested as part of a TBI operation here last week.
The city kind of got a reputation for being what they call hookup city because of the number of hotels and motels that are right off the interstate.
Chattanooga is one of 4 cities TBI Director David Roush says is seeing a presence of the gang Tren de Aragua. That operation last week led to 3 other arrests. One suspect, Adelvis Rodriguez Carmona, is now linked to Tren de Aragua by the TBI.
Ask our street outreach teams. They'll tell you that the trafficking is alive and well.
Love's Arm Outreach serves around 400 women victimized by trafficking in the city of Chattanooga. We asked them about what they know about Tren de Aragua's presence in the city.
I'm not going to say that it's not significant to us, but one gang is the same as any other gang.
As for Rodriguez Carmona,
that person was traveling.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. And that lady should not say that. One gang is not the same as another gang. It's not the same. If you're dealing with Tren de Aragua, in most cases, all Tren de Aragua members are Venezuelan migrants, and they have special protections from the United States government if they're in particular areas that make them more difficult to lock up and prosecute than local gangs. If you guys would agree and that's a true statement, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree and that's a false statement, then give me a thumbs down. It's not the same. It is not the same. It is not the same. Any gang, one gang isn't any gang. That is a very lazy, inaccurate, and reckless statement to make. It is unsafe, and it could possibly get somebody hurt or worse. And she should be made to go back on that horribly inaccurate statement.
It was in Georgia a couple days before.
We reached out to Georgia counties in our area about this. Whitfield County and Walker County both tell us they are currently not aware of Trende Aragwa's presence. Murray County tells us the same, adding that they are connected with both the GBI and Homeland Security and have deputies on the lookout for these crimes. Love's Arm Outreach offers 6 different program types for victims that vary from short-term to long-term care. They encourage anyone who may be experiencing this or know of this crime happening to visit their website for help at lovesarmoutreach.org. Kim?
Mary Beth, thank you. And we asked law enforcement in other Tennessee cities if they've seen activity from Venezuelan gangs. The Memphis Police Department says they have had 2 run-ins with those gangs.
All right, so there's that. All right, so we see what type of crimes that, Trende Aragwa does. Now check this out, right? Look at this. This is a report right here from U.S. and Customs and Border Protection. All right. Use of force incident leaves 1 man dead following pursuit of suspected smuggling vehicle. Now, this is old. All right. This is from 3/18 of 2023. All right. So what I want you guys to see here is that this is an actual situation that took place. This isn't something that's made up. If anybody wants to match the press release with the video, here's the address for it in the chat. All right. These are the kind of things that people don't get to see a lot of times. All right. So we're going to take a look at the video. All right. And if anybody wants to watch the video will definitely be here. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. And we're going to watch this insane video. And I want people to tell me how exactly it is that this works, because this is wild. And I'm trying to figure out why this wasn't on the news.
The following video provides information regarding a U.S. Border Patrol agent-involved shooting on March 14th, 2023 in Sassabee, Arizona. CBP is committed to being a leader in law enforcement accountability and transparency. A portion of this incident was captured on an agent's body-worn camera. That footage is being released today in compliance with CBP policy and the May 25th, 2022 Executive Order on advancing effective, accountable policing and criminal justice practices to enhance public trust and public safety.
Now, let me ask you guys this question. How many people have seen this body cam video? If you guys have seen this body cam video, give me a thumbs up. If you have not, then give me a thumbs down.
On March 14th, 2023, at approximately 6:18 p.m., a U.S. Border Patrol remote camera operator observed multiple suspected undocumented migrants load into a BMW sedan approximately 1 mile north of the port of entry at Sassabee, Arizona.
They got into a nice car. How'd they find a BMW to get into? You know what's funny? In all of my 44 years of life, I've never found a BMW to get into. They found a BMW to get into, and they're not even citizens. They haven't worked a day here, haven't paid a dime of taxes, haven't contributed an iota to the commerce, but they found a BMW to get in, though. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all found a BMW to get in? If you found, now I know AB Promotions found a BMW to get in, but besides AB Promotions, if there's anybody in the chat that found a BMW to get in, let me know. And if you did, shout out to you.
The camera operator transmitted the information to Border Patrol agents in the area via radio. 2 agents who were parked in separate marked Border Patrol vehicles near mile marker 12 on State Route 286 observed a BMW pass their location driving northbound and began to follow. The driver of the BMW was reportedly driving in an erratic manner, turning the vehicle's turn signals on and off and speeding up and slowing down. The agents activated their emergency equipment to conduct a vehicle stop at 6:34 p.m. The BMW failed to yield and a pursuit ensued. The BMW turned westbound near mile marker 20 on State Route 286 onto the desolate, rugged Brown Bear Canyon Road, and agents continued to pursue the vehicle through the desert high country when the driver of the BMW turned the vehicle to the south 3.8 miles west of State Route 286 at approximately 6:41 p.m. while attempting to turn around. What follows is body-worn camera video from one of the agents involved in this incident. This video contains graphic content and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. No audio was captured during the next 2-minute buffer period. The following footage will show the first Border Patrol agent who arrived positioned his Border Patrol vehicle behind the BMW, exited his vehicle, and approached the driver's side of the BMW. The agent used his collapsible straight baton to break the rear and front driver's side windows of the BMW. The agent reached into the vehicle as the vehicle moved in reverse. The driver of the BMW continued to move the vehicle backwards as the agent attempted to hold the driver's left arm. The vehicle stopped and the driver changed gears and started turning the steering wheel with his right hand while the agent was holding him by his left forearm, which was outside and below the driver's side window. The agent drew his handgun and fired one time, striking the driver of the BMW.
Look at that. He's still trying to go.
I just want to back up. I just want to back up into me, sir.
Hey, sure, you got me,
I'm not
lad.
going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Here's my phone right here. My phone's right here. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. I just want to back up into me.
God damn it, dude. He copied.
Huh?
Don't move. Hey.
Sorry, I don't have gloves. Hey, I'm alive. Dude, why? Why? Open the trunk. Open the trunk, sir. Open the trunk.
Is there people in there?
Yeah, open the trunk.
Okay. Hey. We got bodies in the trunk. Bodies in. You gotta check on me. There are bodies in the trunk.
Hey, pass it to the right side, but on the left, by the left foot. By the left foot. Right side, left foot. Shit. Get me up. I'll open it, you guys.
How many are in the trunk?
Yes, it's this, right?
How many?
3. Hey, sir, help me up. I'll open the trunk for you. I can get by myself on information if you want me to do that. I think I got it.
They're right there. They got him.
Border Patrol agents secured 6 other occupants of the vehicle, which included 1 U.S. citizen who was sitting in the front seat and exited the vehicle immediately before the shooting, 2 undocumented migrants in the back seat, and 3 additional undocumented migrants in the trunk. 2 agents who are trained as emergency medical technicians rendered aid to the driver of the vehicle by performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation and using an automated external defibrillator. The driver, a U.S. citizen, was declared deceased on the scene by the Pima County Sheriff's Department. This incident is under investigation by the Pima County Sheriff's Department and is under review by CBP's Office of Professional Responsibility. The review is still in the early stages. Once the investigation has concluded, CBP's National Use of Force Review Board will review the incident. CBP will share the results of the board review once it's complete. Links to this video, as well as public statements about this and other incidents and key accountability-related policies and data, can be found online at cbp.gov/transparency.
This is ridiculous. Now, I want to ask this question, right? Why would Democrats have any issue doing things necessary to make it so that that type of situation doesn't take place again? Like, somebody make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. Hold on real quick. My bad, y'all. Let me see something. Yeah, I think we went through that. Hold on real quick. Okay. So now in Houston, right? We talked about Tren de Aragua in Dallas. They're making a strong presence being known in Texas. All right? They're just popping up all over the place like whack-a-mole.
Murders, sexual assaults, extortions. Those are just some of the crimes committed by a Venezuelan gang.
That's right. Tren de Aragua is becoming more and more present in the U.S. and also right here in Houston.
Fox 26's Abigail Dye is joining us live with some new insight on what officials are seeing. Abigail.
Raji, Anthony, they've been called MS-13 2.0, and the Harris County District Attorney's Office says that Tren de Aragua is multiplying here in Houston, and the public needs to know that these violent gangsters will target civilians.
Definitely have a presence here. Definitely have started to leave their presence known here in the Houston, Harris County area.
Richard Chacon Jr. has been investigating gangsters for the past 3 decades. Now, at the DA's office, he's responsible for locking them up.
We here at this office is trying to bring it home and make sure those individuals get serious time so the general public could walk freely.
What kind of activity are we seeing within this gang?
Right now, everything from narcotics to sexual assaults, some ag robberies, and definitely extortions of businesses. TDA feels like MS-13 2.0.
TDA, or Tren de Aragua, is a Venezuelan gang that's made their way here, Mexico. When did TDA become prevalent in Harris County?
It was earlier this year, I believe.
We told you about some of the terror in our area. The 2 men accused of sexually assaulting and killing 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary in June are believed to be affiliated. And last month, we told you how the members were preying on HISD students.
Middle school students are allegedly being recruited for a large-scale shoplifting ring.
In November, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a proclamation declaring TDA a foreign terrorist organization.
Now, I want you guys to pay very close attention because this is the point that I keep trying to bring home, and I want to make sure that this is extremely obvious, blatant, and very apparent to everybody. These people who are doing all of this never dropped a vote at all ever for Democrats. Can we agree on that? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. Despite that fact, as we have saw by their own saying, Democrat mayors are willing to crash out and go to jail over protecting these people. Someone make it make sense. How does that make sense? How should quote unquote Democrat voters respond to that?
TDA to a tier 1 gang.
The gang originated in a Venezuelan prison. Viral videos from throughout the state and country show armed men knocking down hotel doors and terrorizing civilians. Chacon saying this time of
year. How you know, look, you see, he was thugging in the flip-flops. Thugging in flip-flops, man. Who thugs in flip-flops? Some people thug in flip-flops, but good Lord. He is thugging in the flip-flops, thugging in the slide-in.
The state and country show.
And he had to. He got the Stacey Adams leather slide-ins, and he thugging in them. I ain't never seen that before.
Armed men knocking down hotel doors and terrorizing civilians. Chacon saying this time of year should cause for extra concern.
Just like you and I are trying to make bargains and trying to get deals and get the best out of Christmas shopping, they are looking for the easiest prey, the biggest payoff in all aspects. So we definitely have to keep an eye, be vigilant, and look out for each other.
They will victimize normal everyday people.
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah, that is definitely their bread and butter, so gotta stay with your eyes open, please.
Now, of course, officials don't want anyone to panic, but this is vital information, and you need to be aware of what's going on in our city. If you want to learn more about TDA's activity right here in Houston, you can find that out if you click on this story on fox26houston.com and on our Fox Local mobile app. Reporting live in downtown, I'm Abigail Dye for Fox 26 News.
All right, so there's that. All right, so next, what we're going to talk about is there's been talk right? There's been talk that as a result of all of these changes that are going on, the cartel is going to attempt to become more aggressive. The cartel is going to attempt to be more involved in a lot of these trafficking operations, and it's really going to cause a lot of issues and problems at the border. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man John Guillory. What's good with it, bro? Make sure y'all show John Guillory some love. I appreciate you, bro. Throw some flames, some radiation emoji, and some ducks in the chat for my man John Guillory for funding the organization and for growing the organization. Definitely appreciate you, bro.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the March of Dimes. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business. I'm standing on business.
So now let me ask you guys this question. How many people think that it's appropriate to utilize the U.S. military in company with the Border Patrol to deal with the cartel as a frontline threat? If you think that that's the way to go, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that that's the way to go, give me a thumbs down.
Okay, let's bring in Texas DPS spokesperson Lieutenant Chris Olivares, who will be with Trump's incoming border czar and Governor Greg Abbott tomorrow in Eagle Pass. Lieutenant Olivares, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I want to ask you about what Bill Melugin was just reporting about the 200 migrants that showed up at the border, 60 of them young, unaccompanied minors. You know, just last week, Brian, we were talking about a caravan of migrants that were lining up in Mexico, trying to come in. You know, as we're waiting to see this transition take effect, I'm curious, can you tell us what it's like on the ground? Are the coyotes and the smugglers getting more aggressive at this moment, trying to get people across the border in Texas?
Well, Lydia, Brian, good evening. Great to be with you. So, you know, just first off, you know, by seeing that video, it's a very powerful video, seeing that 2-year-old little girl, you know, just talking about, you know, where she's from, you know, how old she is and where she was going or who she's trying to locate, which is her mother. That's the type of, you know, situations that we see every single day on the border, especially when we talk about unaccompanied children. You know, Sunday morning was the highest number of unaccompanied children we have ever experienced as far as a state police agency, 60 unaccompanied children and minors that came across all at once. And this has become, you know, a continuing situation on the border when we talk about children. Now, of course, you know, the cartels and criminal.
Shout out to NY State of Mind. And again, you gotta ask yourself this question. Like, this is my question to you guys. What type of parents would put their kids in this kind of situation? Like, this is just wild.
Smuggling networks in Mexico, they're going to become more desperate. They're going to want to, you know, change and adapt to what the policies are going to be in 2025 and so on. So they're going to adapt. They're going to try to get more people across that border by any means whatsoever, because that is their profit. That's how they make majority of their money. In the last 2.5 years, you know, criminal networks in Mexico, you know, have turned human smuggling and trafficking into a multi-billion-dollar network. So we're going to adapt what we do. That's why we have to be one step ahead.
Right.
And it's reassuring to knowing that we have strong leadership now moving forward. And as Governor Abbott mentioned, now we have an ally as opposed to having an adversary with the federal government that's going to help us support what we've been doing on the border for the last, you know, 4 years now.
Yeah, I mean, we said you have a new sheriff in town. Tom Homan is definitely a new sheriff. So instead of the federal government being sort of an adversary, they're going to be a partner with you. Talk about how that makes you more effective. How does it change what you do to better secure the border?
Well, it's going to be very effective. You know, we've been doing this, you know, at the state level for the last 4 years. You know, it's a multi-billion-dollar operation, Operation Lone Star, when Governor Abbott first launched this back in March of 2021. You know, deploying thousands of National Guard soldiers, you know, state police, as well as out-of-state resources that we've had help with, but also, you know, building and constructing border wall, you know, putting barriers in the river with the water buoys, physical barriers along the river, and every step of the way, you know, we've been challenged, we've been criticized, and we've been, you know, as far as legal battles from our own federal government trying to stop us from securing the state. But now that we have an ally with the federal government and also with Tom Homan, you know, being the border czar, we can reassure now that we're going to have support as far as what we're doing moving forward, and also continue to work with our federal partners as we try to secure the border as much as possible.
Lieutenant, we are hearing a lot of talk from local leaders, mayors of cities that are sanctuary cities or have designated themselves as such. You know, the mayor of Denver is being very public, saying he's not going to go along with Trump's immigration policies. And we're hearing from Senator Rand Paul. He's from Kentucky. You know, he's got a message for mayors like the mayor of Denver. Listen to what he had to say.
I don't know whether or not there'd be a criminal prosecution for someone resisting federal law, but he will lose. And people need to realize that what he is offering is a form of insurrection where the states resist the federal government. Most people objected to that and rejected that long ago. So I think the mayor of Denver is on the wrong side of history and really, I think, will face legal ramifications if he doesn't obey the federal law.
How hard does it make your job on the ground if you have mayors of cities across the country still designating themselves as sanctuary cities and offering safe harbor to illegal migrants?
Well, it makes it very difficult. And that's why, you know, some of these sanctuary cities and states, you know, they are saying that they're not going to cooperate with the federal government moving forward and trying to locate criminals. You know, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about criminals. You know, illegal immigrants that are in the country right now that have orders of removal to be deported because they already had due process. They need to be removed, and those that have committed crimes. You know, I don't see how that can be an argument with anybody, regardless of political views. The fact of the matter is, majority of these elected officials, especially in these sanctuary cities and states, they should take the interests of their people in their state, you know, over as far as illegal immigrants that have committed crimes. They want to ensure the safety and security of the state or the cities. They should cooperate with the federal government moving forward. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to locate those bad actors. We've been talking about the gotaways, those that have committed crimes. That we don't see tragedies that have taken place throughout the country, like Laken Riley and so many others. You know, that's what we're talking about. So I don't see how anybody can be opposed to wanting to work with the government and trying to locate, you know, these bad actors, these criminals that should be removed.
Sounds reasonable to me. Lieutenant Chris Olivares, good to see you today. Thanks for sharing your perspective.
So there's that. All right. So let's take a look at this. I don't know how effective this war on the cartels is going to be. Oh, you already know E-Moneybag's going to you already know E-Money going to comply. But they going in on E-Money though. They going in on E-Money. He got thrown under the bus by his city council. We're going to have to talk about that in another video. We're going to have to talk about that in another video. It's going down in New York City.
It's always good to see you, Sheriff. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Natasha. Glad to be with you tonight.
And for Sheriff, we just aired this interview with a man trying to take down the cartel sex trafficking ring, serving as a confidential informant for agencies. Your reaction to this story?
You know, that's as I was listening to your interview there, that's the greatest asset we have to us is paid informants. Here in my area specifically, before I retired with the Border Patrol, we had intel agents that had sources of information in Mexico that helped us do our job better on this side. Meaning, you know, you can't really predict or know where activity is going to happen, you know, but through sources of info, paid informants, they're able to give us that intel ahead of time that makes us that much more successful. So when you delve into that sex trafficking and the sex slave trade, those are things that will continue to benefit those of us here in the United States on the law enforcement
Yeah, it's
side.
an incredible thing. And, you know, this specific confidential informant is unpaid, which I think is even more remarkable. Tell me very briefly, what can confidential informants like Sebastian do that law enforcement, that agencies cannot?
Yes, well, you know, they infiltrate the cartels a lot easier. Again, a lot of them are from the other side, if you will, from the Mexican side, and just have that ability, having grown up in some of those communities, to be able to just kind of blend in a little better than we would from this side. And we certainly have people that have infiltrated it and do that. But again, just having a source like that is invaluable, without a doubt.
Appreciate that perspective. Let's talk about mass deportations. This major campaign promise from President-elect Trump. Sheriff, what should we expect with mass deportations? What do you feel this will look like operationally?
You know, Natasha, of course, we hear the left saying, you know, putting the fear out amongst people that it's going to be a huge sweeping operation. They're going to take everybody in their path. Could be further from the truth. Look, there are too many people out there to go try to round up just everybody. Well, what we're going to do is focus on those that are criminal actors, those that have committed crimes, those that have prior order deportations, meaning they've gone before an immigration judge and they've been ordered deported. They were allowed to self-deport, but they haven't left. So we're going to see ICE ERO, which is their enforcement removal operations, putting together teams of other federal agents and then state locals to go out there and combat and find these folks. But also state locals will be able to provide information to the government of those that we have in our custody, determine if they're here illegally, and then turn them over to the proper authorities as well.
So are you confident with that, with the mass deportations, that they will not be going after farm workers, say, or people who have been here for years peacefully, but undoubtedly are here illegally?
Yes, ma'am. And I know that from my 26 years as a border patrol agent. Typically, that is the vast majority of what we go after primarily is the criminal aliens. And the reason I say that is because we're going to try to get those of the worst out first. And again, there's certain laws that prevent us from just going out into work locations and doing roundups and whatnot. But again, Tom Homan's made it very clear, the president's made it very clear that they're going to focus on those criminal aliens primarily. Your
comment, as some blue states and cities are already saying that they will not have their local law enforcement help with deportations.
It would be nice if they did cooperate. But I can tell you, the federal side or these task forces that go in, we don't need the cooperation from those governors. We don't need the cooperation of those city leaders. We still have the authority, talking about the federal side, to go in those cities and conduct, those stings and those activities to find those that are here illegally with criminal records. So regardless if we have cooperation or not, we're still going to carry out those functions.
And you were Border Patrol representative to U.S. Army North during Trump's first presidency. You coordinated DOD support along the border. So what will DOD support for mass deportations look like this time around?
Yes, ma'am, and I certainly did. And along the border, they provided a support role. They weren't in an enforcement role going out there and actually apprehending people. I see it being very similar, if not the exact same, on these efforts to catch criminal aliens. They will be there to drive buses once those people are apprehended, to transport them, to keep the detention centers running, to help out with that. And then lastly, we'll probably see some military flights repatriating people that are here legally to their countries of origin.
Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
So there's that. All right. So again, more of a lot of the same stuff. It's just wild to me, this fight that's brewing between these sanctuary city mayors and President Trump. That's just really weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why they would want to protect these. I think it's clear. Let's just get this out here. Let's just get this out here for the record. According to what's being said right now, that's not considering left turns that can be arbitrarily taken out of the clear blue sky. But according to what's being said, is it pretty obvious that when it comes to these quote unquote mass deportation operations, the priority of these things will be on dealing with quote unquote criminal migrants? Can we all agree on that? If you guys would agree on that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree on that, give me a thumbs down. What I'm trying to figure out is if the concentration is going to be on quote unquote criminal migrants, why is it that when we keep hearing about this in the news or wherever they decide to play this at or talk about this at, they keep talking about children and families and family separations and stuff like that? If you're not a criminal family, you know what I'm saying, you might have limited time, right? Like your time might run out, but you're not going to be the first people targeted. And so, it's just very odd to me that they keep presenting that as the image of what's going to happen. It's going to be like this little desperate 4-year-old running around on the street, and ICE agents just going to snatch her up and throw her in a truck that's caged like a dog catcher. Like, that's not what they're saying is going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back. Our special guest this morning is LA County Sheriff Robert Luna. First off, Sheriff, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. Good to be here with you. So we're talking a bit about immigration. It's in the forefront post-election. Los Angeles is starting to move the process along to become a sanctuary city. The LA City Council
so how many
passed
people
an ordinance
knew about
unanimously.
this? LA City
limits
passed an ordinance unanimously to become a sanctuary city. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Shout out to MS Kino. MS Kino said, look, if you're in the U.S. illegally, get out now and apply to return legally. Yeah, I would agree. If you guys agree with MS Kino, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, then give me a thumbs down. I would agree.
Our special guest this morning is LA County Sheriff Robert Luna. First off, Sheriff, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. Good to be here with you. So we're talking a bit about immigration. It's in the forefront post-election. Los Angeles is starting to move the process along to become a sanctuary city. LA City Council just LA. How does this affect what you might be able to do in working with ICE if you are in LA City?
So Los Angeles County, being part of the state of California, we're not changing much of anything of what we do. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department does not enforce civil immigration enforcement, or we don't do enforcement on civil immigration. And that means, and that's important, the sheriff's department, when they need something, if they're a witness to a crime, if they're a victim to a crime, they need to call us. We don't and will not start asking people about their immigration status. That becomes very important. Public trust here is paramount to a safe neighborhood, this partnership that we desire to have. If we start doing work with immigration, that is detrimental to that relationship, and it actually violates current state law, SB 54.
But is that unilateral? And I say that because there are exceptions, aren't there? If the person immigration is looking for is a known felon or a violent person, would you help in that circumstance, or are you just limited in I can't help in certain places? I mean, it seems a blanket statement to never help is also probably not what you're talking about.
No, I mean, the law is pretty clear that we're not to go out and initiate the activity. Local law enforcement's job is not civil immigration. Now, if somebody at the federal government, one of the agencies, is asking for help, we will assist if they need help. We would do that for any law enforcement agency. But it does get very technical in regards to when we do or do not help. But what our community needs to know is don't be afraid to call the sheriff's department. We are not going to ask you about your immigration status. About a third of our population are immigrants, and a large portion of that are undocumented. It would be a huge strategic error for us to start using local law enforcement to enforce civil immigration.
No, that's interesting, right? We gotta tackle that question. Why is it like that? Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Win Lose or Rug. And he just said that because out here their people are benefiting from the current laws. Facts. If you guys would agree with Win Lose or Rug, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. And he said that right about here.
Asking for help, we will assist if they need help. We would do that for any law enforcement agency. But it does get very technical in regards to when we do or do not help. But what our community needs to know is don't be afraid to call the sheriff's department. We are not going to ask you about your immigration status. About a third of our population are immigrants, and a large portion of that are undocumented. It would be a huge strategic error for us to start using local law enforcement to enforce civil immigration laws.
Well, and that is, it seems, there are two sides to this. One side is saying that we're terrified that there's going to be this mass deportation. People are going to be knocking on doors and that the sheriff might help with that. Then there are the other people who are worried that the sheriff wouldn't help at all if immigration is looking for somebody who is potentially violent. Neither of those are true, right?
Neither of them are true. We are not going to help in any sweeps or deportation of what we call just normal working folk that are here. Like my family, that's the background I come from. But if you have anybody who is negatively impacting our community,
see that? Like my family, that's the background that I come from. That's a little undiscussed wound that a lot of people don't talk about in the United States. We talk about it a lot here, right? We talk about it a lot here.
Neither of those are true, right?
Neither of them are true. We are not going to help in any sweeps or deportation of what we call just normal working folk that are here. Like my family.
Super facts. That's what I be saying, and that's the whole point. Facts. Shout out to Win Lose or Rug. If you guys agree with Win Lose or Rug, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Win Lose or Rug said they have a vested interest in keeping the current system the way it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of Trump's staff picks are immigrants. But nobody says anything about it though. You know what I'm saying? Nobody says anything about it. Marco Rubio. You know what I'm saying? You know? If you guys haven't checked out the stream from yesterday, make sure you guys take a moment and check out that stream from yesterday. The stream from yesterday, we highlighted where we explored the most Latino county in the United States, which was, MAGA country. If you guys remember that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to Emiskino. Emiskino said, I'm in a part of Massachusetts heavily Ted Kennedy country, now Liz Warren, and it's a mess. Oh, I bet. And shout out to Carlos Robbins. I've covered Randall's Island. Isn't that the place? There was a fight that took place in Randall's Island. That's the place that's over by where it floods at all the time, right? It is they put up a tent migrant camp over there, a tent migrant shelter over there. It is bad. It is bad. And shout out to everybody watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please do me a favor. Take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell, please take a moment, hit that bell. And also, please share the stream to your social media.
Background I come from. But if you have anybody who is negatively impacting our community, committing violent crimes, we're going to do everything we can to get those individuals off the street. If you become aware of that, let us know. We have our normal state laws that we enforce. So we are still going to keep dangerous criminals off the street.
And very quickly, we have a new police chief now. You know Jim McDonald very well. We have just a couple of minutes here, or a couple of seconds. I'm sure you're looking forward to being able to work with him.
He's a great partner. I've worked with him in Long Beach. I've worked with him over the years. He has a great deal of respect across the country as one of the top executive law enforcement personnel. Him and I are going to make great partners with the rest of our partners here in Los Angeles County in law enforcement.
Sheriff Luna, thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content.
I don't know. Now, look, check this out. Now, let me ask you guys this. We saw this, right? And we're going to take another, a deeper little look at this. LA City, right? LA City has just declared itself a sanctuary city. Now, let me ask you all this question. You guys see what the sanctuary cities have going on with the budget, right? Is there any sanctuary city in the United States that can show where they have a good budget, where the budget's not out of control? If you guys can name one, all right? Now, here's my question. With the budget being out of control, the way that it is in most of these sanctuary cities, as we know, Chicago is facing a $1 billion budget. Should the sanctuary cities get federal aid? If you guys think that they should, give me a thumbs up. If you guys think that they should not, then give me a thumbs down.
Los Angeles is the newest sanctuary city. The city council recently voted to stop the use of local police resources to enforce deportations.
Again, I don't understand why there's new sanctuary cities. After everybody's seen all of the disastrous effects and all of the disasters going on with sanctuary cities, I don't know why there are any new sanctuary cities appearing or you know what I'm saying, coming out or being made, or what kind of citizens are voting for these places to be sanctuary cities. I don't get it. I don't understand. To me, it's not logical. It doesn't make any sense. If you're a citizen of Chicago or someplace like that, and the budget is completely out of control, why do you want Chicago to be a sanctuary city? Why do you want any of these places to be sanctuary cities? Let me ask you guys this question. How many of you all want where you live at to be a sanctuary city? If you do, throw them flames in the chat. If you don't, give me them clown faces for asking such a dumb question.
Sanctuary city, the city council recently voted to stop the use of local police resources to enforce deportations. President-elect Donald Trump is making the removal of undocumented immigrants a priority on day one. Trump said he would ask Congress to pass a law outlawing sanctuary cities across the country.
Some of those cities include New York, here in Washington, D.C., Chicago, Boston, and San Francisco. Now, the law would not stop the government from carrying out mass deportations in Los Angeles, but the new measure does signal that local officials are standing with its substantial immigrant population.
One user on X wrote, 100% fine with arresting the LA City Council for harboring illegal aliens. We do not want LA as a sanctuary city. Another wrote, Boston's mayor has vowed to fight deportations. LA's mayor pushed its sanctuary city ordinance. Denver's mayor says he will go to jail to protect illegals. Imagine if they fought this hard for their actual constituents. This seems to me like totally misreading the political moment we're in, where immigration was the number one concern, immigration inflation, number one concern of voters, the desire to do.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually agree with Robbie on that point right there, right? This is what I'm saying about the Democrats. They literally for one, they can't read the room, and they just completely ignore what the voters have said. Who are they doing? And this is one of the reasons why I keep asking this question. Who are they doing this for? They're clearly not doing it for the voters. The people that you're doing it for can't vote for you. Who are you doing this for? Well, I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. What's the end game?
do something about illegal immigration is very, very strong. There is a consensus around that among the people. I don't think to deport every last illegal immigrant in this country. I don't think, I personally don't want to hassle otherwise law-abiding Americans who are working and contributing meaningfully to American society. But certainly to begin with those who have engaged in other criminal behavior, to do something there, and not running a city and voting to decide to not have the local police assist in those efforts seems politically bad for the Democrats.
So I take your point about the politics. Let me just speak up a little bit in defense of part of the theory of sanctuary cities, because that's a label that gets sort of thrown around, and generally speaking thrown around derisively. At its core, which LA did what I'm about to describe back in 1979, I believe, there was an ordinance that essentially said the police shouldn't ask people what their immigration status is. And the underlying principle, I think, does make sense.
Now, here goes my question. Why should people not ask those questions? Should that question be a question that's not asked? Because if we start asking people about their immigration status, a lot of people, and a lot of the people who, kind of act like they're not immigrants. And when I say the people that act like they're not immigrants, I'm talking about a lot of Trump staff picks. People like Elon Musk are not going to want to talk about that. I'm just asking. Let me know what y'all think.
If someone who is undocumented sees someone being assaulted, or sees a property being burglarized, or sees another crime taking place, you do not want to give a significant disincentive to that person reporting the crime. And I think that in itself makes very solid sense. It is in the greater good of the society that people who have information about violent crime feel at liberty to report that crime or say what they know to police without facing deportation. Now, firstly, I take your point that the political mood around immigration is very restrictive or conservative or whatever you want to call it. And I also wonder whether within what I have just described, are there exceptions made or not for it?
I find it fascinating that we're making considerations and trying to create logical arguments for justification of illegal activity when there's still so many nonviolent marijuana offenders locked up and literally no one cares. And those people are all American citizens who paid taxes and possibly voted at one point. But we're having this argument about people that are not even part of, the American collective. It's just very bizarre. It's very wild. It's out of context, if you ask me. It's out of pocket, if you ask me. If there's going to be any type of discussion about anybody, if you ask me, one of the first things that people need to start doing is looking at people who are in jail, who are American citizens that really shouldn't be in jail or are wasting space in jail because they're not a threat, and letting them get out of jail before we discuss allowing criminals who entered the country to just get off scot-free for committing their crime. Like, this is crazy to me.
Example, when an illegal immigrant is convicted of a serious crime, it seems to me, just as a moral matter, that person who is convicted should then lose the sanctuary, as it were, that the local authorities should be at liberty to say, person X who has now been convicted of assault is in fact here illegally. So, what do you want to do with that? ICE. That doesn't seem unjust to me, but I see the practical argument for the wider idea.
Yeah, look, in terms of asking people about their immigration status, I agree with you. I don't think the police should, as a matter of habit, ask that question. I certainly don't think they should stop people for no reason and they shouldn't stop people for no reason, period. Right. But stop people for no reason and say, oh, what's your immigration status? Absolutely not. I don't think that should be a part of just like a routine interaction with police to bring that up. If they grab someone for otherwise, making trouble, shoplifting at CVS, even something as light as that, then I think it's.
Let me ask you guys this question. In a roundabout way, when you're arrested, if a police officer asks you for your identification, can there be a judgment made whether you're illegal or not? Because in most cases, if you're not documented, when you're asked for an ID, you're not going to be able to present a document because you won't have one, or either you'll have a fake one. So you don't necessarily have to ask the question, what is your citizenship status? If you don't have any documents and you don't show up in any DMV records when they run the plates, or if they even have plates, or if they even have a license, that kind of answers that question right there, right? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down. So what I'm saying is that they have a way of asking the question without asking the question. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to not acknowledge that. It's like, okay.
It's okay to ask your immigration status then. I would not have a problem with that. In terms of the other thing about the sanctuary city stuff, I think this probably frustrates a lot of people on the right that, okay, we've been told immigration is a national issue, it's a federal policy, right? There have been court cases to stop Texas, for instance, and Arizona from having policies that are harsher than the federal government policy because, sorry, even though you guys are border states, this is a federal issue. So if conservatives don't get to do that and have harsher policies on the border, why do liberal-run cities get to decide, oh no, we're going to do our own little mini immigration kingdom here?
That is a very valid point, and I'm not even sure what.
Shout out to Dre D. Yeah, I agree. If you guys agree with Dre D, give me a thumbs up. If y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down. Dre D said, what up, Rob? It's the messaging. The border issue is a quote-unquote DEI issue. Label it, and it will get more fighters. Yeah, I agree. Facts. If you guys agree with Dre D, give me a thumbs up. Y'all disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Standard liberal argument is against that. It is true that in the case of Texas or conservative border states, it is always said that it's not your kind of bailiwick. It's not within your jurisdiction. It is for the government of Washington to make that decision. I would, I suppose, defend in one way the LA issue, which passed unanimously in the Los Angeles City Council. So, if you want a different policy, elect different members of the council, I suppose. Yeah. And the other point is just in terms of differences, demographic differences in different cities and states and localities.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Shout out to Carlton. That's facts. Carlton says illegal immigration to one world government. Understand me. Right. The sus Illuminati. But check this out. If you don't have any borders at all, then somebody has to govern the entire thing, right? So how does that work? Well, I see what really happens is it just makes more sense if we're able to govern this thing as all one unit. And the reason why is because you see, look at these problems. Look at the problems with the migrants. Look at all of this going on. Look at what's going on in Europe. Look at what's going on in the United States. Look at what's going on in Canada. I mean, borders just don't work. Borders are just outdated. We just got to do something else. We just got to do something else. We're at the beginning phases of that, just so y'all know.
According to one of the council members who voted for this, 1 in 3 Angelenos is an immigrant and 1 in 10 is an undocumented immigrant. So obviously that is going to mass deportation.
1 in 3 people in Los Angeles, 1 in 3, 1 out of 3, 33% of people in Los Angeles is an immigrant, and 1 out of 10 is undocumented. I'm not trying to be funny, but they need to kind of do a sweep. It really doesn't matter what happens, you know what I'm saying, as far as like to the economy or anything there. They need to get all those people out of there. There's Americans that can be taking up space there.
Our own little mini immigration kingdom here.
That is a very valid point, and I'm not even sure what the standard liberal argument is against that. It is true that in the case of Texas or conservative border states, it is always said that it's not your kind of bailiwick. It's not within your jurisdiction. Right. It is for the government of Washington to make.
Right, and shout out to Cameron. That's exactly what I'm saying. Cameron said when you get booked and have no SSN, it's obvious. That's what I'm saying. So when you ask somebody for a document, and then they can't present any documents because they're undocumented, that's asking the question without asking the question. And if there's no documents to be able to present, then you kind of know the answer. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. That's the point that I'm trying to make. If that makes sense, let me know.
To make that decision. I would, I suppose, defend in one way the LA issue, which passed unanimously in the Los Angeles City Council. So, if you want a different policy, elect different members of the council, I suppose.
Again, it passed unanimously in City Council. So pay attention to what's going on out there in LA. And shout out to Win, Lose, or Rug. Shout out to Deformed Pretty Boy. Shout out to DeAndre, all the people that's, from out there, Shout out to TD that, tell us about this stuff, right? Because, otherwise we wouldn't know.
And the other point is just in terms of differences, demographic differences in different cities and states and localities. According to one of the council members who voted for this, 1 in 3 Angelenos is an immigrant and 1 in 10 is an undocumented immigrant. So obviously that is going to, a mass deportation, if it happened, would have a very, very traumatic effect on a city where that is the making.
Yeah, and I don't want mass deportation to take place, and I think we have to be very careful about emboldening some kind of police state, especially like a national or federal police state. Again, I go to Rand Paul, who's the person in Congress most similar to my own political views, saying that totally in support of using ICE and FBI, et cetera, to deport people for otherwise criminal behavior. But we don't want to have the optics of sending the military into cities. That's one reason why you would want participation and assistance from local police who, at least theoretically, would know the local landscape or scene better than some distant federal agent. They might know how to approach, a housing community or something where maybe there's a lot of undocumented people, but there's one in particular who's been accused of some serious crime that we want the police to go talk to that person and their immigration status. And it might be better if the local cops might have more local knowledge about how to do that in a way that doesn't escalate things or cause other problems.
So to that very point, and linking it to the national picture, there has been a suggestion from some people in sort of Trump's vicinity, I think Stephen Miller, that if certain states which have Democratic governors refuse to use the National Guard for deportations, they would sort of import National Guard troops from Republican states. That just seems to me a terrible idea, whatever you think of the underlying policy.
We're going to talk about the militarization debate as well. We're going to talk about sending these National Guards from different places to here and there. There's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of just kind of crazy stuff going around about that. We're going to talk about that because that's interesting and I want to see how that goes down. All right.
To have, for example, Massachusetts, where Governor Maura Healey has said she would not facilitate any deportations, to the idea that you would then, get the National Guard from Mississippi to go to Massachusetts and to help with deportations.
So yeah, so there's that. So that's, again, this thing is heating up and it's very interesting. All right. So now we talked about the law, right? And I think that people should have a clear, quote unquote, understanding on the law. Now, let's just actually ask the question about the mass deportation. How many people think that this is going to happen? And to what extent do people think that this is going to happen? Is this going to, quote unquote, cure all ills? Is this going to cure all of the problems that people have with illegal immigration and sanctuary cities and all of that? Or do you think that this is going to happen on a much smaller scale than what people are, kind of under the impression of, or what they're believing, what's being implied here? Let me know.
Thanks for inviting me. All right. So Trump controls the federal government, right? Has purview over the federal government. The governors, the mayors, they control the states, the cities, the counties, the townships, you name it. What happens if Trump says we're going to do this and they say we're not going to help you do that?
Well, they don't have to help.
Right. So that's why I'm wondering, how all that plays out.
Well, the law is on the president's side in regards to the courts have ruled that federal law has supremacy in our
immigration.
Now, we talked about this, right? The supremacy clause. I want to ask you guys this question. Is what this guy is saying true? Federal government has supremacy and authority over immigration only. Supremacy clause. The federal government has more power and authoritative power over state and local government, because state and local government have no jurisdiction over immigration. So now here's the question. When it comes down to this, is there a difference between not helping and getting in the way of? That's my question. Let me know what you guys think.
And with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. So Trump controls the federal government, right? Has purview over the federal government. The governors, the mayors, they control the states, the cities, the counties, the townships, you name it. What happens if Trump says we're going to do this and they say we're not going to help you do that?
Well, they don't have to help.
Right. So that's why I'm wondering,
Now, that's a fact. That's big facts. Shout out to Desecration. Desecration says the supremacy clause doesn't supersede the W supremacy clause, which says they can change their mind whenever they feel like it. Yeah, they can try it. Yeah. I think we need to do a better. I think we need to do a better and more effective job of not allowing that to happen. I think that if we're going to be the people that call that out and show that, we need to make sure that that stops like a train just got the emergency brake thrown on, if you ask me. Otherwise, it's just an observation, right? So we need to change it from an action to an observation. It needs to go from they change their minds when they want to they tried it, didn't work. If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys do agree, give me a thumbs down. Because my issue with this whole thing is that it's way outdated for us to keep saying, look, they did this, and then like there's no response or reaction to it. You know what I'm saying? If you guys would agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys would disagree, give me a thumbs down.
How all that plays out.
Well, the law is on the president's side in regards to the courts have ruled that federal law has supremacy in our
immigration.
world, in immigration specifically.
Right.
Very good. And so there are people out right now, officers, men and women of ICE, who are out looking for people who are fugitives from immigration court, threats to public safety that are in the country illegally or have done something to make them deportable. So this activity occurs with or without the help of places like Chicago and Denver.
So you use the word help, right? Is it going to be easier in some states, for lack of a better term, because some states will do what or not will do, but support the president's plans, whereas others clearly don't?
Yeah, remember the electoral map broken down by county? Most of them are red. County sheriffs have jurisdiction over law enforcement inside those counties. So you have 287G law on the books that was, I think, was built in like 92.
Facts. I agree. Shout out to Win Lose a Rug. Win Lose a Rug said it got to be more efficient. Either get the back game or either get the back game. Yeah, I agree. You know what I'm saying? I agree 100%. You know what I'm saying? Big facts.
Which allows local jurisdictions to have trained officers help immigration agents on the ground in places that have those agreements. And so there's a way to do it without the help, without support of the local law enforcement, but it's much easier done. It's safer for the constituency.
Okay.
And then let's talk about sanctuary cities. What's the premise here? These are people who came to the United States, were not invited here, came without inspection against federal law, and then they broke another crime in their city or town. And so why are we protecting people who are afoul of the law, both federally and state and local?
What would you say? So Katie Hobbs is the Democratic governor in the border state of Arizona. She said this earlier today. I'll get your reaction, or earlier this week rather. I'll get your reaction.
I am very hopeful that that partnership can continue and that the incoming administration will listen to not only my administration, but the experts here on the ground, the people that are doing the work about what is most needed and what we can continue to do that will be most helpful in securing our border.
She says her experts are the ones that are on the ground.
Well, state and local law enforcement, the reason the federal government has task forces with state and local participants is because they know the lay of the land better than federal agents in every
So is she
single
right
way.
there then?
Well, is it true that locals know the way to go? Yes. Is it also a detriment to her constituency that there are people among them that are in the country illegal and have committed other crimes? That's bad for her constituency as it is for border security across the board.
You know Donald Trump's immigration policies well. As I mentioned, you were the head of ICE for about a year or so. What do you think the first day, week, month looks like?
Stop the leak at the border.
What do you mean by that? I mean, I know what you mean by that, but that's a pretty broad statement.
Solidify policies that allow people to have their due process in immigration court, but don't come in the country and be released in the United States. And that incentive where people come across the border illegally and then are released in the cities and towns in the U.S.
All right, so there's that. All right. So let me see what we got here. I think we'll stop. I think we'll stop for today. All right. Shout out to Sybil. What's good with it, Sybil? I think we'll stop for today, and I'm gonna set up the stream for tomorrow. All right. We're gonna go into the priorities of the quote unquote border operation, so people have a clear picture on what exactly is going to happen. We can talk about it, see how effective we think that it's going to be, see how it's going to quote unquote improve things for quote unquote our situation. All right. So make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you all for being here. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, do me a favor, take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys haven't hit the bell and subscribed, hit the bell and subscribe. Make sure that you're subscribed to the backup channel. All right. Make sure that you are subscribed on Rumble. All right. Also, make sure that you are a part of the Discord. And shout out to the stream sponsors. If you want to help support the channel on Patreon, it's 50% off right now with the code BLR. Make sure you hit the links that the bots put in the chat or that are pinned in the chat. Shout out to the stream sponsors, my man Black Free Thinker. I definitely appreciate you, bro. Make sure y'all show Black Free Thinker some love. Shout out to Michael R. Definitely appreciate you, bro. Make sure y'all show Michael R some love. Shout out to AB Promotions. Make sure y'all show AB Promotions some love. Definitely appreciate you. Shout out to my man John Guillory. Definitely appreciate you. And shout out to my man DSB. My man DSB came with the buzzer beater. You know what I'm saying? We got to hook him up with 2.
How do you think that we fund this organization, huh? We're not exactly the march of dimes.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen,